So there are different, I guess, theories or beliefs or understandings of how the JAK2 genetic mutation occurs. Before I get into it, I really want to put out a disclosure, a disclaimer. I'm a normal human. I am not a doctor. So if you have questions for your doctor, go to your doctor. Get that information. Don't use treatment from someone you find on YouTube. I'm just trying to get my story out there and help people so we can relate on a human level. Anything true medical would pertain to you and you only. So please talk to your doctor and don't think I have all the answers, because I distinctly do not. Anyhow, so I'm giving you my, I guess, quick experience on how did I get JAK2 mutation? How did I get that? That is the question, right? I mean, sometimes you can look at it and say, oh, how did this happen? How did it happen? But in reality, it happened, and you are now living, and now you've got to do something about it. So I understand you want to know how it happened. Mainly, I'm assuming for research, to prevent other people from getting it. I mean, you definitely want to help, but in the meantime, you need to live your life and say, it's there, it's happened. Now, what am I going to do to move forward, and how can I take responsibility for my life? Actually, there's a wonderful video going around. It's Will Smith, and he's talking about that, whose fault it is versus responsibility. I'm going to share a link so you can see that, because I am so impressed with that. That is not just for, getting a disease or feeling terrible or anything like that. It is about life. And there's so many times I just wish I could scream it at the hilltops, things happen, and it's not necessarily your fault or whoever's fault, but now it's your thing to deal with, and it's rough, but it's something true. Anyhow, so here I am, thinking, how did I get this mutation, right? It's the question of the ages for this. We were reading Google, of course, when I first found out I had PV, trying to think, well, what happened? What went wrong, or, what caused this? One of them, they're usually talking about environmental factors, because it is an acquired mutation. And one of them was radiation. And I was like, that's interesting. So I said, let me ask my mom. So I called my mom and I said, hey Mom, was I ever exposed to, a large amount of radiation or anything that you can think of? And mind you, she is as sweet as can be. And she said, oh yes, definitely. And I was like, what? And she said, yeah, so after Chernobyl, what happened is we were traveling around Europe, and apparently during that time there were different radioactive or radiation clouds, and so there'd be different levels wherever you were. So she said, yeah, definitely you're exposed to that. Now, I can't say that this is hitting all of Europe or anything like that, but that was one experience where I thought, well, maybe we could track it back to Chernobyl and some of the fallout there. I know that people that were helping with Chernobyl in that location, anything, there's so many people who were actually affected by it. I don't know if they really even talk about it so openly now. Just one of those things where they kind of do a hush, but I do think that could have been a big effect. I can't say it's my only cause or the only thought. So that was one. Was it Chernobyl? Who knows? Was it radiation cloud? I don't know. Did it matter? No. I loved going around, and my mom taught me so much as a kid. I mean, to take us to different countries, learn different cultures, be exposed to human beings that live a completely different life, and yet we're all on the same planet. It was wonderful, and I wouldn't regret that for the world. Another thing is, I used to live in the Dominican Republic, and during my time there was a huge hurricane, and it just, made a ruckus of everything. And I remember some of the water pipes had broken, and we were living in this house that actually had running water, which is a pretty big deal there at the time. I don't know how it is now. But anyhow, what happened is, when I would take a shower, I would get all sorts of dirt and really gross things that would come out in the water. Or another time, when I took a shower, all this stuff came up from the bottom of the, bathtub. And it's terrible. It's, faulty plumbing, whatever. These are different places. But I know that during that time, there was a cemetery close to where we were, and I think some of the water went through that and kind of went through. I came home, I was full of, like patches all over. I was losing my hair. Um, I wasn't good. I think I had E. coli, salmonella, I had all sorts of stuff. I was on antibiotics for a long time. And again, I don't regret it. I loved my time there. I cannot tell you the immense, I guess, learning profoundness, self-discovery, and love I had for other people. And, we lived with relatively nothing, and it was beautiful. It was perfect. And, again, I met some amazing people, wonderful culture, beautiful times. Simplicity is beautiful. So, again, I don't regret that. That's a possibility. Another time I lived in China. The air there was, you'd look out the window and it's like thick gray, and it's a beautiful sunny day, right? It's wonderful, and you look up, just this muck. You look out your window and it's just almost like some gray dust, thick gray dust, just sitting there. And that was our norm. I remember, a couple days saying, oh my gosh, I saw the sun today, and it's gorgeous, and the sky was clear. I don't know what happened. And it seemed to be something very different. So again, toxins and air quality, pollution, all those things, they could have contributed. I don't know. That's for the scientists and for the people who are hopefully getting some funding and able to kind of research. Maybe they could ask more questions from the people who actually have PV. Were you exposed to these items? Tell me a little bit of your, life history. I think that would be interesting, and that could be very helpful, because we've all lived different lives. Again, I don't regret it. I had a great time in China. Again, amazing people, loved it, self-discovery. I don't regret any of it. And I mean, it may be terrible now that I have to deal with this. I think my hardest part about having this JAK2 mutation and everything with PV, I do definitely get frustrated, all of that. I think the hardest part is knowing how it affects my family, and especially my son, and it's not easy. It's not all of that, but I can't change anything from the past, and I love it. It's made me who I am. So again, I don't know what's at fault. I hope the scientists find out for future generations, for other people. I think we'd be willing to help out, but the thing is, the fault isn't going to matter once you have it at this point. So take it and go on. Anyhow, that was my quick spiel on that. I think it's, something people are curious about. How'd you get it? Well, I don't know. I don't know. These are a couple theories we had, but who knows, Could have been in my own backyard. Maybe there's, too much weed killer. Who knows? But here I am, and I am trying to do something about it. I think that is the most important. So, be careful where you live and do things, helpfully as possible, and just try and do your very best, and then be grateful. And does fault matter? Not necessarily, but just take responsibility and be a happy person. I did find some really interesting things about Chernobyl, by the way, and other items. I thought the Chernobyl thing was very interesting, though, so I'm going to, put a little things in there so you can look at that. So, best of luck to everyone. Thanks.